Hello everyone, this is the day 15 of the admin training. In this day, we'll talk about few more fields about ServiceNow. In our past video, we talk about that what is the application scope, we talk about that what is the global scope, and then in the past video, we created an application called library management, we created a table called books. So in this day, we'll talk about from a few more additional type of fields. The first field we'll talk about date and date type field. Then we'll talk about the table and then condition. So table and condition type of field. Then we'll talk about that HTML, then activity field, and then lastly we'll talk about the dependent choice. So using the dependent choice, how can we create a dependent field? For example, we'll create two choice. One is the state, another is the substate, and then there will be value called draft, review, publish. So when somebody select the review, there will be two more drop down called peer review, editor review, and then when you will select the publish, there will be three options called publish, print, and distribute. So these are the things we are going to discuss in our today's sessions. So let's go to the ServiceNow instance and see how we can do that. So this is our ServiceNow instance, and if you remember that we have created one module called book, and then there is another application that we have created, that library management under the scope application. So we are not talking about that much in that scope application. We'll talk about the focus about that global application, which is in the books. So let's open the books. So first thing, we'll create a couple of type of fields. The first type of field will create the date type field, and then we'll create another type of field called date and time field. So first, let's say that I am going to create a under the publish information. So I'll create one information. So I'll go to this form layout here, and then here under this publish information, I'm going to create one field called date field. Let's say that publish date. So this is the date field, and then here type, I'll select the date type and click add. Next, I'll talk about that how we can create a date and time field. Here I'll say that start date, and then this time I'll select the date and time field. So why I'm selecting these two different type, to show you the demonstration that how it looks like. So I just created a two different type of field. One is the date, and that is the date and time. Let's see how they are looks like that. So if I close that, there will be two type of field created. One is the publish date, and in this date we can select only date, not the time. And we can see we have a functionality can select that date. So this is our publish date, and here we can select date along with the time, specific time. So two different type of field. One is the date type field, another is the you can see that date and time field. So these two field has been created. Next, we'll create a HTML field. So let's say that I'll go again, right click, configure form layout. Under the main section, I'll create a field called content, and there maybe the book information or the book details will be there. So I'll say that here under this main section, I'll select that book description, and here I will select the type equal to HTML and then click add. So once and along with that, I'll add the end split and then save that. And let's see that how HTML type of field react. Why I'm discussing those fields, because these fields are very important and is going to be used in future. So that's the reason I want to show you that how they have been looks like that. So date field is used to selecting the date. Date time field is used for calculating the time between one of the another. And then under this HTML type field here, we maybe can put some of the content of the book, like it have a options to add the images, add the hyperlink, and then add the bolds, all these stuffs you can add that. So this is the HTML type of field. So we have a string, number, auto number, integer, price, reference, price, date, and date time, string. So these reference this type of field here. Now we'll create a field called the dependent choice. So first I'll create two drop down. One is the state, another is the substate. So let's do that. I'll configure form layout, and then here I'll create two choice field under the main sections. Here under the book information, I will create two field. One is the state, and this state will be in the choice field. So I'll select the type equal to choice, add, and then another field I'll select the substate and add. So these two fields will be added here, and then I will move these to here before the price, after the price. Let's see, the field has been added here. So this is a choice field. And now you can see it doesn't have any drop down, right? So it does not have any kind of drop down right now. To add the drop down, you can simply right click and then configure choice, and then you can start adding the state. Let's say that I'll start adding the draft, add, then we'll say that review, add, and then we'll say that publish. So these are the type of state will be available. We'll just save that, and now you can see under the drop down we have three kind of drop down: draft, review, and publish. Now what we are saying that depending on, let's say that you selected the review, there will be substate related to that review. If you select the publish, there will be related substate of this state, right? So for that, we need to be make the dependent. This field, the substate field is going to be dependent on the state field. For that, what we'll do, we'll right click, configure choice, configure dictionary. We'll leave that. Then if you scroll down, there is an option called advanced view. We'll select that advanced view. And then I will create a dependent field. So there will be a checkbox called dependent. So you can see there is a tab called dependent field. So we'll select the dependent fields. So we'll go to this dependent field sections, and here you can select that use dependent field, and depending on which field, so we'll select this under this drop down, it will be dependent on the state. I'll select the state and then simply click the update. So now this substate field will be dependent on the state, right? So whenever we'll select that review, there will be some substate related to review. For that, what we'll do, we'll select that state equal to review, and then right click and then configure choice, and then here I will add that that whatever field needs to be added on dependent on review, I will add that. For example, let's say that for review we'll add the peer review, and then we'll add that editor review. So we'll say that editor review. You can see in the top it's showing that use state equal to reviews. For the depending on use state, we want to add these two field and simply save that. Now here you can notice that when we are state is none, substate is none. When we selecting that state equal to draft, there is no drop down for a substate. But when you select the review, there will be two drop down available called peer review and editor. So this is because of we created a dependency field. Now for publish, we want to add few more dependents. So we'll select the publish and right click and then configure choice. And now you can see under this top it's saying that u underscore state equal to publish. What are the dependent field we want to add? Let's say that print, and then one more is the distribute. So these are the options added, and simply save that. So now you can see at that moment state doesn't have any value, that's the reason substate doesn't have any value. When you select draft, there is no substate for the draft, but when you select the review, there will be two drop down called peer review and editor review, and when you select the publish, there will be two drop down called print and distribute. So basically it's right now dependent, and whatever value we are putting, based on that it is working. Now we'll create one more type of field that is not maybe fit for this criteria, but I'll just show you that. So we have another type of field called table. So we'll say that form layout will add the table. Let's say that in certain condition, if you go to the client script or any of this case, so if you go to the client script, where you can select the table, right? So where you can select any specific table here, right? So we have options to select the table. So whatever table is there, we can select that. Similarly, we can create a table type of field here under this case. So we'll select the table here, name equal to table, and then type equal to table. Also, you can select that if that is needed anyhow in your case. So we can select that. But I'll just for demonstration purpose, I'll add this field. But so you can add this table type of field, and then where we can select that any specific table like incident table, problem table, we can select that. If any such requirement is there, you can select or you can create any type table type field also. Similarly, we can create the condition type of field also. For example, I'll create another field called condition, and then there we can select the condition also. We'll select that condition, and then here we'll select the type equal to condition. Okay, and then we can add that. So if it needed, you can add that. So I'm just giving you the example. Last not the least, we'll talk about the journal and journal input. So journal and journal input can keep tracking out each and every information. For example, if we right click configure, and then we can create a journal entry called notes. We'll add this field called notes under this main section called notes, and here I'll select that journal type of field and then add and save that. Once you save that, this is a journal kind of field where we can put any kind of notes or all kind of notes we can put that. For example, we can say that we can say that book. So this is a kind of a journal input. So we'll just save that. What will be happen after save? It will be stored as a note. So who create and what time, who mentioned these, and then what notes they have mentioned, all will be stored here like by like, line by line. So wherever whatever notes I will put that, it will be stored like that. So this way there is a various types of fields into the ServiceNow, and we can create the various types of field depending on what we needed. So I'm not telling to utilize the all this in your book table, but wherever you needed these types of field, you should aware of that which field we should use that. So if you know what type of fields available into the ServiceNow, then you can use that field type. So let's say that somebody want to store some HTML information, you can create the HTML type field. If somebody want to put the notes details, then you can create the journal type of fields. If any date related information, either you can go for date or date and time field. For price, you can go to the price types of field. Depending on what use case you needed, you can go different type of fields available into ServiceNow. You can select that. Last, not the least, I'll talk about that audit. If you see here, this is the ServiceNow instance, demo instance, and in this demo instance, we have been working for that book information last few days. Let's say that somebody created this record in draft state, right? So he created it in a draft state. After some time, maybe 1 or 2 days, this book state got changes to the draft to the review, and then maybe the review is the peer review. Now, after 1 year, if I want to know that who changes the state from a draft to the review and then from none state to the peer review state, how do we know that? If you simply right click history, it have a historical calendar, and that will just show you that created date, nothing else, because this table is not audited. So if you audited any fields or any table, you will be able to clearly see that who changes these and when these changes happen. To make this table auditable, what we have to do, we have to right click configure, and then we have to go to the dictionary. Once we click the dictionary, and then this is the all the fields we have. Now if you search with the collection, and you can see the field is collection type of field is available, you can see which is under the book. So you can open this collection field, and then we have a checkbox called audit. You just select this audit and click update. Once it is done, let's open this book table. If I open this books table, let's say this is the record we have created. You right click, and then here you have a options called history, and you can see right now we have two options. One is the calendar, another is the list, because previously it was only calendar. Now after make this auditable, it is started showing the list type. So we'll select the list, and here at that moment you can see 9 entries and all are blank. So let's do one thing. I'll go back here under this record again, and let's say that I am updating this substate from peer review to the editor review, and then simply save that. So it means that some update happens. Now auditor who want to audit, they can see that, right click history and list. They want to see that who update that. For that they will search with that field, let's say that substate, right? So we'll search with the substate field, and if we added that created time here. Let's say I'll add the created time and created by and do jet to A. So whenever initially it was created, I'll do jet to A here. Whenever it was created initially, the field was value was peer review. Now after some time, you can see this is the timestamp it have. After some time, somebody updated from peer review to the auditor review, and who updated that have that username already mentioned under here. So this way we can actually audit that particular field and know that who updated. Not only the list, from the list we can also see a calendar view. From the calendar view we can see what happens to that specific day. For example, if I right click and then history and then calendar, now previously there was only one entry, and now you can see this is the time when this record got created, and after that it is updated by myself. And if I click that expand, that will show that the substate field got updated. Before value was peer review, and then it is the after value is the editor review. So this way we can specifically turn on this audit. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day.